More than 100 documents from the Pentagon were leaked last week and have been passed on to the media. They are shocking revelations that everyone is realizing, and right now I have several conspiracy theories that if you think about them, you'll see that it fits with everything we have been seeing and everything that has been happening in the last couple weeks. Like, for example, the fact that Manuel Macron was telling Europe as such to drop the United States. We could be right in practice, and here we are going to start speculating, putting our aluminum conspiracy hats because it's quite interesting. Let's see, what has happened? Well, it happened a few days ago. It's been reported, well, it started reporting last week, but this exploited topic is about more than 100 leaked classified documents that came out of the Pentagon, ranging from Ukraine to the Middle East and China. Everything is there. They are quite dark plans of how the United States, for example, even Zelensky himself, Vladimir Zelensky, was being spied on. In this video, I'm going to show you the 14 things that are the most, in fact, there's like 16 things, 17 things, that I'm going to show you what is the tip of the iceberg, because this has just begun. And obviously, I'm going to say who I think was the one who hacked. And obviously, since this is a hack, and there were leaks of this extremely important sensitive information, it has also been possible to note that there have been actions to try to confuse us. Now, with all the mix of the topics that have happened and are happening, they are going to use a technique that is used to inject false information so that we don't know what is true and what is false, such as arresting a suspect. So keep in mind as we review what's happening, because it's really just surprising. It has been said that this is one of the worst nightmares for the Five Eyes because it affects everyone, the entire Anglo-Saxon Empire. So who attacked the United States? Who attacked the Pentagon? From there, whoever it was has to have the power, the intelligence, the technology to be able to attack. Well now, this was the military center of the Anglo-Saxon Empire. I'm not talking about just the United States, I'm talking about the US, New Zealand, England, Australia, Canada, every one of them. They have to have the capacity to be able to attack this military center. And who could it be? Who is the enemy of these five? Of these Five Eyes? Who is it? They are always portraying this country as the enemy. Guess wrong, and you'll be right. If you didn't guess right, now let's talk about who it could be. But hey, without a doubt, this is the tip of the iceberg. Let's see what this has been about, because it has appeared in different types of newspapers and magazines. The truth is that I'm going to discard all this. I'm going to focus on what the issues are that are still being discussed right now. Because, well, they basically confirm things that we've already expected. We have 14 revelations here on a single page, and I also have other tabs here that I'm going to show you. The first one, let's look at this. First disclosure, locations of CIA recruiting efforts targeting human agents who have access to closed-door conversations of world leaders. What does this mean? It precisely means that they're looking to hire traitors to the homeland, if you want to see it that way. For example, imagine that here in Mexico they did this. They would hire someone who is directly involved, who has access to the morning meetings. No, not the morning press meetings, but the meetings that President Obrador has with the cabinet, with the security cabinet, with the military, whomever is there in close proximity. La CIA was trying to hire spies in different countries. Then we received intelligence indicating that Wagner's group attempted to obtain weapons from NATO member Turkey, in addition to some future rewards for Wagner's attempts, apparently known to U.S. intelligence. Okay, that sounds quite strange. In other words, I'm going to give you different reports so that you see that some smell a little strange. Wagner, remember, is Russia's private army. We've received details about the satellite technology. Listen to this one. Details on the sensitive satellite technology used to track Russian forces, namely the Pencil Time series video described as an advanced satellite system that until recently had been very secret and very well guarded. What did that confirm? Confirmed that the United States, one, is there on the battlefield spying, so now even if they continue to say no they don't, Even if they say that the drone that the Russians shot down several weeks ago wasn't, the US said that they weren't spying on anyone, as we know that indeed they do, that they constantly spy directly on the Russians. This has been extremely important. We have assessments of the battlefield in Ukraine prepared by the Pentagon. The Pentagon being the leader, as I told you, the military leader out there, where they are now. You can imagine these tents that the Romans had, where they would gather to see the field of battle. It's the same, but it's from the Pentagon. They're seeing where the Ukrainians need to move. Obviously, this has also confirmed that it's the US that's behind the conflict. Has this surprised you? No, I mean, that's why I'm saying no, this shouldn't have surprised you. Not at all. Zero. Nothing. And this is where the leak begins to speak to us on behalf of the newspapers. Beware. This is super important because this is where they start to inject poison. From this point, they started to put out misinformation, and it smells like crap. When something stinks, it's probably because it's a lie. The Guardian reported that slides suggested that a small contingent of less than 100 special ops personnel from NATO members, France, the US, Great Britain, and Latvia, were already active in Ukraine. This we already knew. Now they are confirming to us with slides produced by the Pentagon. Here, I simply point out the most important ones. An edition of the 20, which is almost all of them. An edition of the 23rd of February about the situation in the Donbass battlefield in Ukraine. It predicted a major campaign of attrition by Russia that is likely headed towards a stalemate. The objective of Moscow is to capture the entire region in the year 2023. Here, two things were confirmed. One, regarding this conflict, Russia is seeking to postpone it as long as possible until the year 2025. The other thing is that they are, as we have already said on Zona Cero, Russia is determined to carry out an exhaustion campaign. Take note of that. This is important. All right, continuing, this is where the shadiest part began. Why? Because we are now dealing with the Washington Post. And this newspaper, if I remember correctly, this is Jeff Bezos' paper. Pretty sure it's the Washington Post. That's why with this, beware. If WAPO says so, we can start talking about if it's true or if it's a lie. The intelligence community has penetrated the Russian military and its commanders so deeply that it can warn Ukraine in advance of attacks and reliably assess the strengths and weaknesses of Russian forces. Be skeptical of this one because this one is so important, since it may be a lie. Because here, they want to create chaos. Moreover, in the United States, there's already chaos. This info leaked, so there's already chaos. Clearly, they want to use this to their advantage, sending this kind of misinformation, saying that it's the Russian lieutenants, the Russian generals, that they're all colluding with the United States. And what does that create? Discord within the leaders of Russia, of course. And that's exactly what I see here. They want to sow discord, and I don't believe it. Another from WAPO. A single page in this leaked treasure reveals that the U.S. intelligence community knew that the Russian Defense Ministry had broadcast plans to attack Ukrainian troop positions in two locations on a certain date in February. And the Russian military planners were preparing attacks on a dozen power facilities and as many bridges in Ukraine. This doesn't tell us anything. We already knew that Russia has been attacking power points, power generators, power facilities. We already knew that. Who said it? WAPO. Again, it was from that point where it all started. I mean, we already knew. The Russians have already said this. We've already seen it as they attack the key points. They've called it attacking key points. Now, this video will be a little longer than usual, but it's extremely interesting stuff. We also had from the Washington Post a summary of the analysis of La CIA's World Intelligence Review, a daily publication for senior policymakers. Says it's likely, listen, here they are injecting stuff. It says that it's likely that Beijing, that is, China, sees Ukrainian attacks deep into Russian territory as an opportunity to portray NATO as the offender. and that China could increase its support for Russia if it considered that the attacks were significant. What does that sound like? Demonizing the Chinese. The Chinese are enemies because the Chinese are possibly going to attack NATO. Did you get that? That's why you have to look at it that way. There's political injection here. There's poison. The strong defenses, this was another one. The Soviet-era Ukraine's strong air defenses, which have so far minimized the involvement of Russian aircraft, could run out of ammunition in the next weeks. No newspaper said this. It was something that was leaked. Now that sounds more legit. That doesn't have a political overtone, a grim overtone. It's something that we have seen, which coincides with what we've seen. An alleged intelligence update from the CIA claims the Mossad of Israel supported protest against Prime Minister Netanyahu's Supreme Court reform scheme. Did you understand that one? If you don't know what the Mossad is, it's basically like the secret police, the intelligence police of Israel. And who runs it? The Prime Minister. They are saying that the Prime Minister's, his secret police, betrayed him. That's why he wasn't going to advance, period. Right? I mean, he had to cancel. A report said internal discussions show South Korean officials are wary of requests to deliver artillery shells in the United States to replenish U.S. stockpiles, fearing they might end up in Ukraine. Okay, that wasn't that important. Whatever. Another report stated that the Ukrainian air defense is in danger if the Western allies do not reinforce them. Again, something that doesn't matter. Although we already know they constantly need more missiles and everything. They have also informed us that Ukrainian intelligence is attacking Russian targets without Zelensky's permission. They are rebelling against Zelensky. He's not managing to keep them under control. This was confirmed by the Pentagon in these documents. In addition, the counteroffensive plan on the part of Ukraine was also leaked. This plan, well, if it's already been exposed, they're not going to use it anymore. But beware, that's why I'm telling you, if this problem is already out there in the open, it's already been leaked, then they're going to start using the technique of injecting disinformation into the media. And if we see it on behalf of, check this out, the U.S. Department of Justice has opened an investigation into the Pentagon leaks, blah, 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 blah. They're begging the newspapers, those that reported on this, to please stop reporting on this. If we see that the reporters of the Washington Post, which is basically a newspaper of the ruling elite, began to report on this, it's because they actually have the approval of the ruling elite. It's because they have the approval of the elites, of the empire, of the military. They aren't going to fight against the military. Do you understand? So the fact that the media is not going to antagonize the military already indicates that they have the approval. That's why it will be dirty. Therein lies the poison. Now, let's get conspiratorial. What happened 2 weeks ago? I mean, this has been known since January, those leaks, but no one's heard of them. No one saw them until 2 weeks ago when they really started going viral. And what just happened recently? France buys liquid propane gas from China and uses yuan to pay for it. And then last weekend, this happened, as you start to see more. What did I tell you? Let's see. Who hacked? Because nobody knew who hacked. Who has the ability to hack? Here, the most advanced computers in the world, of the Pentagon, of the military, whatever you want to call them, from the military squad, to get this information. Who has the ability to infiltrate spies? The Chinese, right? And who did Emmanuel Macron meet with? With whom? With Xi Jinping. And what happened literally right after he met with Xi Jinping? He called for Europe to drop the United States. Beware. Be really aware, because right now we don't know exactly how many documents there are. We don't know what they'll all say. We don't know if what the journalist said would be confirmed. The one who said that the United States plan was to destroy Europe and that they planned the whole incidents with the Nord Stream 1 and the Nord Stream 2 gas pipelines. What's going to happen if these leaks reveal that the Pentagon did it? This comes as a pretty hard blow because they can't blame the Russians anymore. They can no longer say that it's Russian propaganda. What's going to happen if something serious comes out where the US was spying and because of that, someone got angry and told them to go to hell 20 times? Was Macron spying? Could you believe it? It's pretty heavy stuff. Well, we're going to keep our eyes on the story and these documents as soon as more come out. Be sure to keep an eye out for our updated story on the arrest of the supposed leaker. We hope you like this video. Please subscribe, ring that bell for all notifications, hit that like button, leave a comment below, share this video so we can reach more folks.